Do you remember the summer of 2016? It seems like everyone thinks that it is the greatest summer that we've ever had. What's Cookin' episode 14, we're going to take you back and look at what made summer 2016 so great. Let's find out.
Here we go.
What's cooking, everybody? Episode 14. We are live. We are back in the studio with another episode. No guest today. We've had another streak going of guests. I believe it was 3 weeks in a row, talking with some interesting people. I always love the guest episodes the most. I assume that you guys do too. We get to hear some different perspectives from different people, go back and share some life memories, some good stories, and I feel like having a conversation is more natural than me speaking by myself. But unfortunately, we don't have a perfect world where I can just fly around to different people and clear our schedules and talk every single week. So every now and then you're going to have me coming at you solo, coming at you from the What's Cooking studio here by myself. And I think that I do have an interesting topic today. I think that everyone is going to have their own experience in this topic, and it's going to be a little bit different for everyone, but we also have some shared experiences in this topic. So you're going to be able to kind of deviate from my stories, and you're also probably going to be able to relate to my stories that I'm going to share today. The hard-hitting question that I've seen on social media and when talking with everyone that I know, seems like there is some sort of nostalgia, there's some sort of vibe that is always associated with the summer of 2016. People have said summer 2016 energy. People have said this was when we were closest to achieving world peace. People are saying that this was a simpler time, a more positive time, less chaos, less violence, less social unrest. It was just a good summer. In my opinion, I think it was a good summer overall, but seems like people on social media and people I've talked to really put it up there with some of the best that they've ever had. So today I'm going to dive into some memories. We're going to talk about sports, finance, technology, and video games, our main 4 categories on this podcast. What was cooking in each of those categories during the summer and the year of 2016 that made it such a great summer? You ask different people, you're going to get different answers about this, but I feel like I do bring some strong arguments to the table here. I bring some good reasons, and I'm going to help you guys break down the magic that we captured during that summer of 2016. So I'm going to start with a quote, and this quote comes from The Office. This quote comes from a man named Andy Bernard. He says, "I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them." That quote hits hard. It's one of the last lines that you hear in the show The Office in the final episode. And it applies to a lot of times in life, summer 2016. Sometimes you think that things aren't necessarily going great, and then you'll look back and realize what a great time that you've had and what a great period of life that you were in. So not trying to say that where I'm at right now or where everyone's at right now is worse, but seems like looking back on things, that's never really as bad as it was in the moment, from my experience anyways. So that's just a little quote for you guys to kind of think about as we head into this. I'm going to start, before I get into the main 4 categories of the podcast, I'm going to start with some personal life stuff. Where was I at in life during summer 2016? What was I up to? What was cooking with Brandon during these times? So as far as school goes, I was in high school at this point. 2016 would have been the end of my sophomore year of high school. So pretty much the exact midpoint of high school for me. I was ending sophomore year, going into junior year, 2 years down, 2 years to go. In the thick of it in high school, good old Kennedy Cougars. So one of the main things that I was doing over the summer was getting ready for the upcoming basketball season with Kennedy. In the summer, we have lifting. In the mornings, we have some practices right after lifting. Not always great for my jump shot. You pump some iron and you go out there and shoot, and you hit the backboard on some of your shots, and it's like, man, I just lifted and now we're out there playing. But hey, I don't make the schedule. I just follow the rules, man. So we're out there trying to do what we could, get better every day. I also worked a job that summer, and the reason I worked this specific job is because I decided to no longer play high school football going into my junior year of high school. Decided to switch over to golf instead. So I ended up getting a job at Elmcrest Country Club in the golf department, working with some other kids my age, cleaning some golf clubs, setting up some things around the golf course, picking the driving range with a picker, picking up all the balls, bringing them down, washing them, all that good stuff. And as far as a job that I've had, I don't exactly think of this job as a great job. Even though I just said, looking back on things, usually they seem better after the fact than during it. This job, although it was cool and it gave me a lot of cool experiences, didn't exactly like the environment that I was in. Some of the people there didn't really set me up for success very well, didn't really vibe with me, I guess. I'll leave it at that. But anyways, some of the cool experiences that job offered me was getting to play free rounds at Elmcrest, which is a very cool course. Got to go out there and golf. I was very early in my golfing career, and I really didn't know much of what was going on in golf, but this helped me learn quite a bit, being around the game, being around some players that were better than me. I got to, I think it was like they had a designated day where employees would be able to go and go play on the course, so try to take advantage of that as much as I could. But the main thing that I remember, guys, of summer 2016 working at Elmcrest, the Zach Johnson Foundation Classic. This was a huge event for the golf department at Elmcrest, probably the biggest of the year. Zach Johnson, obviously, PGA pro. He was born in Cedar Rapids. He golfed a lot at Elmcrest, and he's kind of the reason that Elmcrest is what it is. So he would gather up some PGA friends, some of the popular names that are local Iowans, and then also other tour pros, come back to Elmcrest and get a round in for some charity, and it would be a great time. Some of the notable people at this particular event, Jordan Spieth was having a great year, 2015, 2016 type of time. I think that was when he really started first breaking out. So Jordan Spieth was there. Obviously, Zach was there. You had John Daly there. He was playing in the group ahead of me, and we were watching him tee off on the 16th tee box, I think it was. We shook hands with him before he teed off. He sent one wide left into the trees on his first tee shot. He's like, oh, I need a mully. My man pulls out another ball, sets it down, and just rips it like 250 down the middle. So second time's a charm, you know. You got to have that breakfast ball, first one of the day, get out of your system, and then move on. But John Daly, absolute classic, man, an interesting person, and it was cool to see him. A couple guys from Duck Dynasty came out. I watched as Willie Robertson, and then I think it was Jace, if I had to guess, was also there. They were carted down to the back dock area, and I took Willie's golf bag. It was like a camo golf bag, and like moved it over to where his cart was going to go. So that was pretty cool. And then I walked, what I did for the most of the day was I walked with Riley Smith, who was an actor. I helped update the scorecard for his group, and we had some great conversations talking about Iowa, talking about his career and sports and everything. He actually had a broken finger that day, which made it really hard to golf, and he really kind of struggled out there, but it was so cool to kind of go through all that, and worked a 14-hour shift that day. So yeah, a lot of action there. I had over 30,000 steps on my Fitbit, I believe. Unreal. Crazy day. So between basketball workouts and this job I worked at Elmcrest, that occupied the large majority of my time during the summer. Obviously, I did have free time to go out and hang out with friends and everything. We're going to get into that in some of the future categories, but those are the two that I'm going to start you off with, just to kind of get an idea of where I was at in life during summer 2016. And now we're going to go ahead and see what the rest of the world was up to in summer 2016. I'm going to give you some highlights in each of the 4 categories. What made summer 2016 so great? We're first going to head over to sports, as always. This was the time heading into summer 2016. We had the NBA playoffs going. If you guys remember watching that year, it was Western Conference Finals, Warriors versus Thunder. Curry and Clay and Iggy and Draymond versus KD and Russell Westbrook. It was a great series. The Thunder were up 3-1. They were 1 game away, guys, from making the finals. But the Warriors had other ideas. They were not going to be beat in these Western Conference Finals. They found a way to come all the way back from down 3-1 and win the series and get to the finals. And they matched up against a certain Cleveland Cavaliers team with LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, and company. This was an insane NBA Finals, guys. The Warriors off to an early 3-1 lead. LeBron James brought those Cavaliers back. It was an insane comeback. Everyone was already ready to print the posters and hang the banners for the Warriors when they had the 3-1 lead. Everyone wrote the Cavs off, man. They said it was done. LeBron and the boys found a way. And that Game 7, probably one of the most memorable basketball games of my lifetime. Watching Game 7 down the stretch, LeBron getting that chase down block, and then Kyrie hitting the 3 on the other end. It was like the peak of basketball excitement. And I don't know how you're going to be able to top that in the near future. And you just had to be there, man. Summer 2016, one of the great NBA Finals series of all time. If you're a Warriors fan, you might not enjoy it as much. If you're a fan of a team that got beat in the playoffs, you might not enjoy it as much. But as just an overall basketball fan, you have to appreciate the level of competition that was put on display in this series. LeBron versus the Splash Brothers, one of their 4 consecutive finals matchups. This is the only one that the LeBron and the Cavs got. Warriors won the other 3. Obviously, this was the loss that the Thunder had to the Warriors. This is what caused Kevin Durant to jump ship, head to the Warriors, and win 2 straight in the next 2 years. But man, that really kicked off the summer. That was in June, early June. And what a way to kind of head into summer 2016. Other sports that we had going on at the time, the Rio Olympics of 2016. There was a lot of speculation going into the Rio Olympics about the Zika virus going on. People were concerned that the athletes would go over there and maybe contract this virus and bring it back to the United States. So there was a lot of athletes that dropped out, that did not decide to participate. USA basketball, we did not have LeBron, we did not have Curry. They just got done with an exhausting 7-game series in the finals. So that's probably a big part of why they didn't go. Also, Zika might have played a factor, but we did end up getting the gold anyways without those two. Kevin Durant and company went over to Rio, and I believe they were undefeated throughout their whole path. So USA men's basketball, you gotta love the level of competition there. Obviously, we're expected to win every year, and we're very glad that we are able to capture the gold, bring it home safely. In other Olympic news, Michael Phelps, 5 gold medals in the Rio Games, 1 silver. Simone Biles, 4 gold medals in these Olympics, 1 bronze. And then some non-American action, Usain Bolt. He won the 100-meter dash. This wasn't his world record time, but he did win the 100-meter dash for the 3rd straight Summer Olympics, which is something that never had been done before, so that's insane. He won in 08, 12, and 16, so Usain Bolt dominating over a long span of time. Last thing I'll throw in here for sports of summer 2016, the Chicago Cubs won the World Series. Whew. I believe it was 1908 was the last time that they got that done off the top of my head. Correct me if I'm wrong, Cubs fans. This was a drought like none other. The Cubs fans were waiting for ages and ages and ages, if they even are still alive from the 1908 team. But I remember that night, the night that they won it. I was in high school at the time, obviously. We were down in Iowa City visiting my brother who was in college. We were out at Airliner getting some food and watching the game. Watched the first half at Airliner. Things were going good. It seemed like we had a chance, the Cubs anyways. And I say we. I kind of claim the Cubs, I guess, just due to them being local. But don't mistake me saying we for me being a Cubs fan, because I don't really care very much about baseball, and I don't know much about baseball. So anyways, we head home from Iowa City and catch the very end of it. And the Cubs got it done, and the Midwest was very happy. People were flooding the streets in happiness. Just something that had never been done for over 100 years, the Cubs winning a World Series. So magical. You got to love it. And that'll cap off what we had for sports summer 2016. Not a whole lot for me to mention for finance in summer 2016. I'll throw at you that the entire year of 2016, S&P 500 went up 9.5% roughly. So good year in the market. We'll take that, absolutely, compared to what we're going through now. There was a brief down period during Brexit, which was the Great Britain deciding to leave the European Union. Stock market took a bit of a hit there, ended up coming back. We also had the upcoming election, had some implications on the stock market. The debates going on between Hillary and Trump, both talking about economic policies and what they would do if they were elected. Ended up that Trump did get elected 2016. He kind of had this whole put America first type of mentality. And when he got elected, it seemed like the stock market really liked that. Things started going well early 2017, I believe. So overall, good year in the market. That kind of took us over to 2017, 18, 19, which were also positive years from what I remember. And then recent years, very volatile, up and down. Obviously this year, very down, but that's kind of what you were looking at as far as finance. I wasn't an investor personally at this time. I was just a high school kid. I had no idea what the stock market was, unfortunately. The school system is what I'll blame for that. If I would have known about stocks back then, maybe I would have been interested in paying attention, but you don't really learn about that in school, unfortunately. But that'll be it for finance. Let's head over to technology in summer 2016. The iPhone 7 comes out, and usually iPhone I think you guys have heard me say this before. iPhone improvements. You got the usual slightly larger screen size, slightly more storage, slightly longer battery life, new iOS operating system. That's kind of their go-to during these new iPhone releases, the old faithfuls that you can count on. But this year, iPhone 7 coming out was a big change, a big, I would say addition, but it was actually a removal. The headphone jack on the iPhone was removed. No more. You had to have either AirPods or the headphones that plugged into the charging port, or you had to have a headphone jack dongle that converted to the headphone port. So it forced you to kind of upgrade your listening devices. And I think that was kind of revolutionary that Apple decided that they kind of wanted to push us in a direction of wireless audio. And obviously today, no one really complains about the lack of a headphone jack, at least not from what I've heard. But back then it was a big issue. People were concerned, people were upset, and they had to kind of put up with the changes that Apple was forcing. The Galaxy Note 7 also came out in 2016, and it was kind of hyped up at first. People thought very highly of it, but then, if you guys remember, they started catching fire. They were spontaneously combusting. These Galaxy Note 7s just caught blaze and at random times, and they got recalled. So kind of a swing and a miss there from Galaxy. That kind of pushed people in the iPhone direction as well. So unfortunate, but also technological happenings during 2016. Snapchat memories were released. This was big because previously you send a snap, your friend opens it, and then it's gone, supposedly. But Snapchat Memories lets you take a snap and then you can save it to your local, I guess not local. It's more of Snapchat's cloud image service. So I am a big user of Snapchat Memories these days. I think it's cool to associate my photos with a time, because Snapchat does a good job of categorizing into months, and it gives you like a recap of what happened a year ago on this day and everything. So I think this is groundbreaking, and I think a lot of people enjoy Snapchat Memories. Unfortunately, guys, there was a negative, another negative in the tech field at this time, if you can consider it tech anyways. Vine, the app Vine, decided that it was going to shut down. This was TikTok before TikTok. This was the video platform that restricted the videos to very short lengths. I believe at first it was 6 seconds. So you really had to get your point across quick. And TikTok now these days, you can get up to like a minute, maybe even over a minute. I haven't been on TikTok in a while now, but this was revolutionary, Vine, when it came out. And it's really sad that Vine was shut down, because I had a lot of fun on there. There was so many classic videos on there, and it was revolutionary. It was groundbreaking. It kind of pushed forward the social media industry. So R.I.P. Vine. R.I.P. man. We're going to head over to video games now. Video games, in my opinion, and I think in most people's opinion, has the number one thing that is associated with summer 2016. Ladies and gentlemen, the app, the game, Pokemon Go. This was legendary. Pokemon Go was a game changer. Pokemon Go was a lifestyle. It was a movement. It was the only thing like it at the time. I have never seen an app, a video game, take over the world in such a short amount of time like I saw in summer 2016 with Pokemon Go. I think it was early July, maybe July 6th, July 7th, if I had to guess, 2016, that Pokemon Go was released. I saw some people that I followed on YouTube and on social media kind of downloading it and playing it, and that's kind of how I heard about it. The first week or two that it was out, it had so many bugs, the app did, and it had so many crashes. You would open the app and go to your Pokedex, and then it would crash, and you'd have to go back in and try again, and the servers would be offline, and it would be full, and it would be just all sorts of problems. But people were willing to fight through these issues to play the game Pokemon Go because of how revolutionary and how innovative it was. I noticed people in my neighborhood walking around that I had never seen before, walking in certain areas. You had people going outside that are usually confined to their TV screens in the indoors. You had people who really were lacking their physical activity because, gamers, you kind of stereotype them with not really getting out in the world much, not really exercising a ton. This was the solution to the problems that I just listed for those gamers. You had to get out. You had to go outside if you wanted to get better, get your Pokemon up, get your levels going in Pokemon Go. You had to go around. And so I saw these kids walking around my neighborhood, and I ended up going out there too because I wanted to walk around. I wanted to earn my, I had a Magikarp, I think it was. And if you walked it a certain amount of miles, you would get some sort of reward. But it was just something that I had never considered previously in gaming. You had these Pokestops that were located in like landmark areas. So maybe like a park would have one, or a historic site, or any like notable building would be assigned to a Pokestop. And there would be gyms too in like certain parks and different areas where you could battle your Pokemon. And quickly I had to kind of learn where the Cedar Rapids hotspots were. Unfortunately, no Pokestops in my neighborhood, so I couldn't really get a quick and easy Pokestop off of that, but there were a lot of cool Pokemon spawning around my neighborhood. I remember a certain house I would always walk down to had a ton of them spawn in at once, so I'd always walk over there. The social media takeover from these YouTubers, what I saw is these guys going around popular cities. I remember the most was Santa Monica Pier in California. It was like the Pokemon Go hotspot of the world. There was so much action going on, and everyone was playing it. And you could tell right away if people were playing it, and you would meet new people, and you would kind of exchange information and talk. And it's just, it got people outside that really would never otherwise be out there, and people were coming together and enjoying life and getting outside and just bonding in a way that I had never seen. And this is why people say that we were closest to world peace at that time. There was no negative, overlying issue plaguing the world like COVID, There was no unrest. I mean, I guess there was some, but it was just overall, all in all, the vibes were immaculate, as some people would say. I remember going around with some friends in Cedar Rapids. We would go to Knowledge Park. I'd see a ton of people playing it there. And what I'll say is we had me and my friends also went to Green Square Park in downtown Cedar Rapids to find some other people and some other Pokestops and stuff. And we ran into this one guy, and I don't remember his name. He had like a username. He had like a Twitch channel or something. He would stream Pokemon Go. But this guy walks up to us. We're playing Pokemon Go. And you can tell that this guy is committed because he was very high level and he knew what he was doing. And he came up to us and he was like, name, level, team. And he was like, what's your guy's name? What's your guy's level? What's your team? What's your highest CP or whatever? What's your highest combat Pokemon? He just like had this checklist. He's like, tell me this, tell me that. I want to know all your information to see if you're worth my time or not. It was just something that I had never seen before. So a lot of fun memories. One last thing that I'll throw in here, other than what I've already mentioned, some Cedar Rapids good spots to go. Seminole Valley, that was a cool spot. A lot of Pokestops back there, a gym back there, and some of my friends would always come back there and get our levels going and everything. Ellis Golf Course was a great spot. We were catching some scythers in there at one point. We were catching some other guys. And obviously that's when I joined golf too. So I had never even considered Ellis Golf Course prior to that. But since I was spending so much time there, it ended up being a great for my Pokemon Go and everything. Galaxy 16 Cine in Cedar Rapids was a huge spot for Pokemon. Them things were spawning like nothing else. I remember going there and just seeing a whole patch of like Pokemon that I've never seen before. And it was insane. Galaxy 16 Cine, for whatever reason, the geocoding, the location services were blessed at that particular spot because my goodness, guys, those things were popping off. Then it got to the point where I had developed a routine. So, as I already mentioned, I was working out in the summer for basketball, and I had developed a daily routine where I would drive to Kennedy, go get my lift in the morning, go play some basketball afterwards with the team and everything. We'd have the Kennedy Cougar camp. Sometimes we'd have to help out with that. Sometimes it'd just be practice or open gym or something. We'd get on with that. We'd be done. After the lifting and the basketball in the mornings, I would have a specific route I would use. So I come out of Kennedy from the South Lot, I believe. I would drive over to the Kennedy Horseshoe, which was a Pokestop. I would hit that, spin it, collect everything. I would loop back around over to Lovely Lane, which was, I believe, a gym and a Pokestop. So I would check out the gym, see if it was my color. I was Team Red, by the way, Team Valor all the way. If it was a gym, I would try to throw in a Pokemon in there. If it wasn't, just collect the Pokestop, see if there's any cool spawns, otherwise be on my way. Then I would drive over to Oakland Church, which is one of the parking spots for Kennedy. Hit that church, it was a Pokestop, and then head home after that. So it would be every weekday. I would go to basketball, lift, shoot hoops, and then hit those little spots on my way home. And it just become a daily routine where, you build it into your day, and it's just like, man, what a time to be alive. So Pokemon Go is the number one thing that I associate with summer 2016. And I had the time of my life playing that game, meeting new people, going out and experiencing things that I never would have otherwise. In other video games, not nearly as good as Pokemon Go at this point in time, but I do have to give some special shout outs. Madden Mobile. The two favorite Madden Mobiles I had were Madden Mobile 16 and Madden Mobile 18. So if you guys are familiar with Maddens, they come out in like late summer of the previous year. So Madden Mobile 16 came out probably August 2015, and then Madden Mobile 18 came out probably August 2017. So I didn't play Madden Mobile 17 a whole lot, which would have came out summer 2016. But I'd still need to give it a shout out because Madden Mobiles were some of the greatest mobile gaming experiences that I've ever had, right behind Pokemon Go, of course. And it's really a shame, much like the console Maddens, how they've fallen off in the current years. There is no more auction house. There is no more live events, I believe. They did away with the engine that was running Madden Mobile 16 and 18, which is the same engine and the animations and everything from Madden 2008 for GameCube, which is a huge reason why I'm a fan of it. They since then they've upgraded to the engine that was used for NCAA 14, which is good on console, but it really doesn't hit the same on mobile. And they've made the auction house. At first they changed it, and then they completely took it away. They just did away with the whole experience that made it the great game that it was. So Special shout out to Madden Mobile during the summer of 2016. Even though I wasn't a huge player at that specific time, it was near the peak of the Madden Mobile experience. One last video game I'm going to throw in. NBA 2K17. There was a lot of memes from this year, NBA 2K17. It came out late summer of 2016, so I'm going to include it in this mention here. You had Orange Juice, which was you and your teammate connecting for some sort of special combination where you could control the other player and like activate certain boosts and stuff. And me and some of my high school basketball teammates would always joke about Orange Juice and do like this certain handshake that they would do. It was kind of cringy, but it was also kind of funny and cool at the same time. I got NBA 2K17 during the free trial weekend. And for whatever reason, there was a glitch where I got to keep playing even though I only got the free trial. So I bought the free trial, which was free, so I didn't really buy anything. But I got to play 2K17 for like 4 or 5 more months after that. For whatever reason, they couldn't discontinue it, and I just got to keep playing, and it was great. And then eventually, somehow they recognized it, and I lost access, and I had to actually buy the game. But great year for 2K. One of the only 2Ks that I'd ever played. I believe 2K15 I also played, but you know, video games at a relative peak, I would say, in 2016. Great year for them. Another thing that I'm going to throw in here that I usually don't talk about is music. Music is not one of the 4 pillars of this podcast, but it deserves a mention. There were some great albums. There were some great songs going on at this time. Summer 2016 vibes, summer 2016 energy type of songs. First one I'm going to mention is the album Views by Drake. A lot of great songs on there. That one was a big player in the 2016 music market, you could say. Another one that I specifically remember hearing a ton on the radio on my drives to working at Elmcrest, Don't Let Me Down by the Chainsmokers. That thing was on almost every time I was driving to Elmcrest. That thing was a huge hit that year. Don't Let Me Down, classic song. Another one, Heathens by 21 Pilots. Some people think 21 Pilots are a little cringy. Some people like them. I think they're somewhere in the middle. I think they're solid, not outstanding, not terrible. You gotta hand it to them, though. They had some great songs. And Heathens was up there with some of the best that they've done. Another one is Pillow Talk by Zayn Malik. That one I had heard a ton. And I actually associate that one more with driving to Metro Youth Football Complex when I used to ref flag football games there. That was kind of more of the vibe I got, rather than Don't Let Me Down, Chainsmokers more being associated with Elmcrest. But that's just some personal associations I make with some of these songs. And then the last one is more of a cultural shout out. Do you guys remember the Mannequin Challenge? It was sweeping the country. It was sweeping the world. The song Black Beatles was associated with it. You would have people taking videos of everyone. It could have been a football locker room. It could have been a classroom or a school. Any group of people would get together and be posing, doing some sort of activity, but they're like frozen in time. They're just absolutely still. And you'd have one camera person kind of going through, videoing, getting all the little poses in there, while the song Black Beatles was playing in the background. And it was, you can't really describe social media trends, and you can't really like describe how they happen, and you can't really predict them. But once they catch fire, they can really spread fast. And Black Beatles Mannequin Challenge was up there with some of the most widespread social media trends that I've ever seen in my time. A lot of cool videos on there. You could look up some football teams, you can look up some schools, and you'll be able to find a ton of them. I never personally participated in one, unfortunately. But I was a viewer, and it was pretty cool to see some of the creativity that people came up with. And that's kind of where I'll leave it off for music. So a lot of content that I got through today. Summer 2016 vibes. In conclusion, what I'll say, putting a bow on all of this, people were getting outside. People were interacting with the world. People were meeting new people due to Pokemon Go. Going to new places we had never explored before. Working a summer job was something I did, probably a lot of other people too. Making new memories, hanging out with friends, working on high school sports, off season. And I mean, the stock market was good. There was no coronavirus locking everyone in. There was no terrible overarching world conflict, really, that I remember. It was just overall a good time. It was a good vibe. We had a good experience. People were out doing their thing. And, you know, what more can you ask for than just a pleasant summer where you get better, you branch out, and you have fun with friends. So that's what I remember from summer 2016. Maybe you guys have a different experience. Maybe you remember something that I left out. You can always hit me up in the DMs. You can always send me a message. How did your summer 2016 go? Was it similar? Was it different? Was it better? Was it worse? Let me know. I'd be happy to listen. I'd be happy to discuss with you, because I think that the nostalgia of this period is some of the most deep that I've ever seen for one specific summer. So there you go. Summer 2016 retrospective deep dive. I hope that you guys learned a little bit about what was going on in my life at that point. And I hope this kind of took you on a trip down memory lane. And I'm hoping that someday, whether it is in the near future or just continuously for the rest of our lives, we can replicate the energy and the vibes that were captured in that powerful summer of 2016. And so that will put an end to the summer 2016 portion of this episode. Before I get to the what's cooking with each category, I have a little throw-in. I have a little Ballin' on a budget update. If you guys have been diehard listeners, you know a couple episodes ago, I was able to purchase a 42-inch 1080p TV for $25 on Facebook Marketplace. Ended up selling that bad boy for $80 today. So that is a sizable profit. I believe that is $55 in the bank just by knowing the market, just by doing my research, understanding what is a valuable price, what is an underappreciated listing, and going in and finding those value listings and taking it upon myself to get out there and, you know, flip these things. You know, hey, a lot of people make fun of Gary Vee. A lot of people think that he's like a hustler or whatever, but he has a cool series called Trash Talk, I think it is, where he like goes to garage sales and just flips stuff. So there you go, $55 I just made on flipping that TV. I'm going to be looking for more stuff like that in the future as well. With that, we will head into what's cooking and see what is cooking in each of the 4 categories. What's cooking in sports? I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this because it's very depressing. A couple of these are actually pretty depressing, so I'll try to get to it here. Iowa versus Ohio State. Let's just say this is not 2017. This is 2022. And therefore, Iowa loses by 44 points. It was 54-10. You guys want to guess how we got our touchdown? It was a defensive touchdown. Ho, ho, ho. Look at that. I notice a trend. Our offense can't do squat. Spencer Petras on the first offensive play of the game throws a pick. Later on, he gets benched. We put in Alex Padilla. He comes in on his first play. He fumbles the snap. and it's just doom and gloom across the board. I feel bad for our defense. They deserve better, and it's pretty much chalked season. We could get to a bowl game. It's not going to be any noteworthy bowl game. It's probably going to be like the CheetoPuff.com bowl or something like that. International House of Pancakes 2022 Extravaganza Bowl. One of those really obscure, irrelevant games. But who knows, man? Who knows where we go from here? A lot of messes to clean up wherever you look. Speaking of messes, let's head over to the NFL. The LA Chargers, who somehow going into this weekend had a 4-2 record. Don't ask me how, because we do not play like a 4-2 team. We go up against Geno Smith and the Seahawks. We get absolutely handled. Kenneth Walker was running around on us. Geno was slinging that thing. Our defense was confused. Our players were injured. It was just a disaster. I mean, listen to our wide receiver core. Wide receiver 1 is Keenan Allen, who has a hamstring injury. He did see a few snaps in this game, just starting to come back, but I still consider him injured. Mike Williams in this game had a bad injury. It looked bad anyways. Turns out it's a high ankle sprain, I believe. So that's our wide receiver 1 and 2, both injured. Wide receiver 3 is Josh Palmer. He's out with a concussion. Wide receiver 4 is Jalen Guyton. He's out for the year with a torn ACL. Therefore, wide receivers 1, 2, 3, and 4 for the Chargers are all injured. And our wide receiver 1 is now DeAndre Carter, who is a guy that we signed in the offseason as a kick return, punt return specialist. That's where we're at, guys. If you're wondering who's behind him, we have Michael Bandy, who we activated from the practice squad. And then I believe we have a guy named Jason Moore, if that's right. I don't even know if that's his name, but that's who we're rocking with right now. Chargers are heading into a bye week next week. I assume we will be making a roster addition somehow to the wide receivers. Otherwise, don't expect any wins for the rest of the year from this receiving core because, my goodness, guys, we are in a bad situation. Other NFL news. Packers and the Bucks. Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady both taking L's this week that we did not expect them to take. Packers losing to the Washington Commanders, formerly known as the Washington Football Team, RIP Football Team. I kind of started liking that name when then they got rid of it, so I don't know, man. The Buccaneers, they lost to the Panthers with PJ Walker, bro. You kidding me? How is this happening? Tom Brady, this is what you came back for, man? He's in a pickle right now, as is the Packers, as are the Chargers. A lot of confusing results this year in the NFL. So that's what makes it interesting, though. You know, college football, you know that Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, what else? Ohio State, those are going to be some of the top 10 teams every year, no matter what. NFL, you have no clue what's going to happen. We thought the Rams were going to be great again. They're steadily falling off a cliff. It's just new teams take the top every year, so it's pretty interesting. Quickly, NBA. Lakers started 0-3. Uh-oh, guys, uh-oh. Russell Westbrook had a questionable shot when the Lakers were up and could have just dribbled out some more clock. Russell Westbrook pulled up for 2, clanked it, and then they ended up losing that game, so tough. I believe the Mavs are 1-1. We started out with a loss to the Suns, unfortunately. Then we came back and beat the Grizzlies. But I like what I see so far from our big man. What's his name? Christian Wood? Yes. He is looking good down there in the post. He's changing some shots on defense, getting some boards, finishing in around the rim. Hopefully Luka and the boys can get some good chemistry with him, and we will make it into another successful season. What's cooking in finance? If you guys listened to last episode, you would have heard me talk about how last week was a big earnings week in the market. A lot of notable companies releasing their earnings. That'll affect stock prices in the short term, let people know where they're at with the companies. If you thought last week was big earnings week, let me tell you what we got going on this week for earnings. Oh, I don't know. How about Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Facebook? Oh, the big five? Yeah, the big five. They represent roughly a quarter of the S&P 500's market cap. That's very important, guys. The tech stocks, the top five, they are releasing their earnings this week, so there's going to be a lot of movement based around these releases. There's going to be a lot of speculation, and people are going to have their eyes glued to the situation. Monday got off to a strong start. S&P was up a little over 1%, I believe. I think part of that is just recovering from the devastation that we've had the past couple weeks. Sometimes there's no sellers left in the market, and you just go up because not necessarily be on good news, just lack of more bad news, I feel like. So maybe that's what we're seeing. Maybe there is actually good news. That would be great. But yeah, big earnings week. Keep your eyes peeled out for that. And if you pay attention to these companies, you're going to learn how they're doing this year. And if there's an opportunity for you, I would pay attention to the earnings. Absolutely. In crypto, the University of Iowa, aka the Hawkeye Cryptocurrency Club, which I am a part of. I used to be the president, but I have handed the torch, so to speak. I am now just an advisor who helps out on the side. And one of the things I do as an advisor is I brought back the portfolio challenge, which I did last year for the Crypto Club. We give people a fake $1,000 budget and let them invest it across up to 5 different crypto. And we will build them a portfolio based on their percentages that they would like to have. So for example, if you want 50% Bitcoin, 25% ETH, 25% Dogecoin, we will allocate those dollars across those crypto, and we will keep track of your portfolio over roughly a 6-week time span. And we will check back in at the end and see who has the largest portfolio. Last year, we had a lot of fun doing it. My portfolio was near the bottom. I got wrecked, but I learned. And now I'm happy to present that I'm off to an early lead in the portfolio challenge. Full disclosure, I put 100% of my portfolio into a crypto called Chiliz, ticker symbol CHZ. This is a crypto that deals with sports. It has a platform where fans can engage and interact and vote and give their opinions on team decisions. Maybe it's a uniform color. Maybe it's a little side promotional type of fan input that they can give. Nothing super integral to the team structure. Obviously, the front office will make those decisions, but anything that's like fun and lighthearted on the side, fans can kind of give their opinions and vote in polls and stuff, and it runs through the blockchain. I don't have a perfect understanding of it. I still need to research more. But part of the reason I invested in this is because Chiliz has a strong presence in the game of soccer and an international presence, whereas it's not quite as big in the US with like football and basketball, although they are starting to explore those markets. It's mainly focused on soccer right now, I believe. And what's going on with soccer in the upcoming weeks? Well, we have the World Cup, guys. The World Cup, usually that's in the summer. It's being hosted in a location that I do not remember, but it is the summer in the location that it's being hosted coming up. So it's technically going to be summer for the people that are there, just not summer for us in the U.S. World Cup could have a positive effect on the short-term price movement of the crypto chilies. That's why I decided to put my portfolio into it. So far, we're up. Who knows if that'll change? Who knows? It could go down. That's just some speculative investing by me. Last year, the people who won the portfolio challenge put 100% of their portfolio into ApeCoin. So I feel like you kind of have to put on your short-term thinking hat rather than long-term in this circumstance. And that's kind of the mindset I brought into this. So we're going to give you guys an update in the finance section of what's cooking each week with the portfolio challenge for Crypto Club. And hopefully I can keep my first place ranking, and we will let you guys know how I do next week. What's cooking in technology? There is a Meta shareholder, also known as Facebook, if you guys didn't know. Meta, Facebook, same thing. Meta shareholder writes critical open letter saying company needs to slash headcount and stop spending so much money on the metaverse. So Altimeter Capital has this guy that's a chair and CEO named Brad Gerstner. I think that's how you say it. So Brad was saying in an open letter to the company and CEO Mark Zuckerberg on Monday that Meta has too many employees and they're moving too slowly to retain the confidence of investors. The Meta investor, which was Brian, this Brian guy recommended a plan to get the company's mojo back, including reducing the headcount expenses by 20% and limiting the company's pricey investments in the metaverse technology, VR software and hardware, to no more than $5 billion per year. Brian's saying here, Meta needs to rebuild confidence with investors, employees, and the tech community in order to attract, inspire, and retain the best people in the world. In short, Meta needs to get fit and focused. Wow. Brian did not hold back here, guys. He does not see the short-term benefit of going into metaverse right now, and he wants to focus on slashing some headcount, which I assume they mean like total number of employees. So kind of trim some of the lower end employees and limit some of the metaverse purchasing so you can focus on stock price returns to investors right now. And maybe that will put them in a better situation going forward. I know Mark Zuckerberg, aka Zuck, has a huge appreciation for the future technology of the metaverse. Although I don't really see, like Brian is saying here, I don't see a huge benefit in the short term right now. It seems like we're not really ready for metaverse in 2022 anyways. Who knows, 3 or 4 years could go by and it starts becoming more widespread, but it's still very early. So that's what Brian is kind of telling him. And we're going to see if Mark decides to listen or if he will continue going by the beat of his own drum, so to speak. I'm excited to see what Zuck decides to do. We'll have to check back. Apple stores begin selling an exterior door lock that can be unlocked by tapping an iPhone or an Apple Watch. The $329 Level Lock Plus is installed in a door, and then users can unlock and relock their homes by using the Apple Home Key. This Level Lock Plus is the first home key supported lock that's been sold in Apple stores. That's interesting, guys. Apple, not really known for, I guess in my mind anyways, bringing in like other companies' products and selling them in their stores, but I guess they really believe in this project from Level Lock, and they're willing to add this to their retail sales, I guess. I don't know how I feel about needing my phone to unlock my front door. I could see situations where that wouldn't always be great. If your phone runs out of battery, how are you going to unlock it? If you're standing out in the rain and you're holding a bunch of gear, you wouldn't want to go fishing around in your pocket for your phone, but I guess you would have to do that for your keys anyways, so good point. Maybe this will be very useful. Who knows? $329. I don't really have a great idea of the market for door locks, but that's a little pricey in my opinion. If you guys are big Apple fans, maybe you should hop on this, get the Level Lock Plus, and then you can come on the show and let me know how it goes. What's cooking in video games? A few days ago in Edinburgh, Scotland, I think Edinburgh, Scotland, that sounds right. A Scotland-based developer named Anslo announced a game called Slow Roads. It's a free, easygoing driving game with procedurally generated scenic landscapes that runs in a web browser. It's available at slowroads.io, and it requires no logins and no installs to play. A lot of the video games that have you driving, like so the car-based video games, they lock you into rules that can make driving feel stressful, which could be good if you're in a competitive mood and you want that kind of environment. But sometimes you just want to relax, man. You just want to sit back and vibe and enjoy the ride. And that's where Slow Roads comes in. In Slow Roads, you can't crash, you can't fail, and you can't lose. The road stretches on forever as scenic landscapes zip by. If you steer off the road, press R to reset your car's position onto the pavement. Even roads are optional. You can drive off-road or underwater if you want. My goodness, I might go try that. The game runs in Chrome, Firefox, Safari, and Edge browsers. The driving controls in Slow Roads are simple. Use the standard WASD keys or the arrow keys on your keyboard to operate your vehicle. W or the up arrow is to accelerate. S or the down arrow is to brake. A and D or left and right arrows handle the steering. You can give your car a boost by holding Shift or by double tapping W. Additionally, the letter C, the C key, will change the camera angle, and Q and E will cycle through available weather and lighting conditions. And if keyboard controls aren't your thing, you can switch to mouse-based steering instead. Man, I tried this game actually, guys, before I hopped on the pod today. I went and drove around for probably 3 minutes. I did have to kind of adjust the settings, the render distance, to account for the hardware that I'm running the game on with my laptop, but I had a great time. I think it was such an easy way to hop on and just vibe and drive around. Very low barrier to entry. You just type in the web address slowroads.io and your car already spawned in and you're just ready to go. I might be listening to a podcast and just toss on some Slow Roads and just drive around and vibe out, man. Sometimes you just need a break from the stresses of life, and that's when you go to slowroads.io. I hope you guys try this out because I've had a great time on this game. It's new. It's created in JavaScript, I believe. So it's impressive that kind of game with like a seemingly infinite developing landscape can be provided in a browser. That's pretty impressive. But I had a great time with it. Maybe you guys can hop on and let me know what you think. That'll do it for me, everybody. What's Cooking is complete. Episode 14. We looked back at summer 2016 and we talked about some current events. So hopefully you guys were able to go back on a journey with me today, relive some old memories, and then get acquainted with some recent news. That's what we try to do on What's Cooking. We let you know what's going on current day, and then we bring back some memories from the good times as well. If you guys want to come on the podcast, let me know. I'd be happy to have you. What's_cooking on Twitter, what's_cooking on Instagram. Got a Facebook page, got a YouTube channel. You know the drill. We will see you guys. Might be a guest, might not, next Wednesday. See ya.